The colonial history of Chennai began here at Fort St. George, the first British fortress in India. Established in 1644, this walled complex provided a beachhead for settlement and trade. The city later grew around Fort St. George, which now houses the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. Located within Fort St. George grounds is St. Mary's Church, the oldest British building in India. St. Mary's is also the oldest Anglican church in all of Asia, popularly known as the Westminster Abbey of the East. This incredible building is known as the Madras High Court, one of the oldest court buildings in India. Built in 1892, this complex was one of 3 high courts in India, along with Bombay and Calcutta. Covering 107 acres, the court complex is the second largest in the world, next only to the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom in London. And this is the incredible Kapleeshwara Temple. Kapleeshwara Temple is a Hindu complex dedicated to the mythological god Shiva. Originally built in the 7th century AD, this temple complex is one of the oldest built in the Dravidian style of southern India and Sri Lanka. As we've learned, Dravidian architecture is best known for its gopura, these colorful, carved, 6-tiered towers that top the temple structures. By the time of Jesus, Hinduism had already existed in India for about 1,500 years. According to Hindu philosophy, the reality we live in is thought to be a projection of the mind, called Maya. Using a variety of religious disciplines, the goal is to achieve moksha, the ultimate breaking free from the mind and becoming one with the great cosmos. In short, Hinduism is dedicated to escaping the tough realities of life. A new worldview perspective entered India with the arrival of the gospel in the 1st century AD. Thomas was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus. According to the Bible, he was the disciple that doubted who Jesus really was until he experienced the resurrection firsthand. After Jesus commissioned his followers to take the gospel to the ends of the earth, Thomas packed his bag and traveled east. Along the way, he shared the message of Jesus Christ with anyone who crossed his path. According to ancient documents, Thomas shared the gospel with the rugged highlanders who lived in the mountains between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. He also ministered in the court of King Gandhafares, ruler of most of modern Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Clearly, the man once known as Doubting Thomas no longer had doubts, as he preached the gospel to entire kingdoms in the East. According to tradition, Thomas arrived in India in about 52 AD. He preached along the Malabar coast and across the Deccan Plateau for nearly 2 decades, arriving in present-day Chennai in about 68 AD. Here, Thomas and his companions preached the gospel, built churches, fed hungry, cared for widows and orphans, and called rulers to servant leadership. Over 2,000 years ago, the man known as Jesus of Nazareth was born in the small town of Bethlehem in the land of Judea. His extraordinary life, brutal execution, and miraculous resurrection from the dead attest to the truth of his claim to be the only Son of God. This is the story of how Jesus, through the lives of his faithful followers, has become known around the world, impacting all of human history from the 1st century until today. This is Drive Through History, Ends of the Earth.